How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another video. I have something a little short, a little fun today. It's something I've been thinking about doing for a bit, and I just never quite got around to it, but today's the day. So, as a collector, we all collect different things. We have our own little niches on what we like. It can be as broad as you're a Marvel, DC, an indie person, or you like Hulk, Spider-Man, Batman, and then you start to get into more obscure little niches on what makes you tick, things you like to collect. One that I kind of do, but I know people that are kind of full-born into it, especially in the Batman and Detective Comics titles, are they love to collect covers that have the bat signal on the cover. There's just something about them, most of them really hit. And I know there's a subgroup of people that really like to hone in on that. There are people that do robot covers, pinup girl covers, big hand covers. There's literally something for everybody. And I have one that it doesn't have any set rules or guidelines, but anytime I see covers that kind of fit into this category for me, I like to snag them every time. And like I said, there's no set rule on what has to hit this category I'm into. It's more of when you see a cover that is any kind of in that category for you, that ticks some of your boxes, you get it. So some of the covers I'm going to show you, again, it's not a huge stack today, is some that are very much top tier, that is everything I love about this subcategory. And then I have other ones that just barely kind of tick that box for me, that technically fit into this where I do group them in, but they're ones that don't hit all the boxes I like for it. And what I'm going to be talking about today, specifically, is comic book covers that deal with any kind of doll, ventriloquist dummy, marionette, puppets. Something about covers that incorporate those in various ways tend to be some of my favorite. And again, there's no rhyme or reason, where some of them that I have here for examples fit in very well, and I like them very much. Other ones just barely dip their toes into what I think fits my category, enough where I want to include examples today so you guys have a big range of what I'm talking about. So this will be a fun, short little video showing off one of the subcategories I like to collect, and then at the end, going over and asking you if there's any books you know of that might fit this category that I'd like to look into, as well as what you're into. But for now, let's take a nice close look at some of these books. The book we're going to be talking about today is Teen Titans issue 19. Now, while this is an amazing Silver Age cover, again, a lot of the Teen Titans run in the Silver Age are just amazing. I can't recommend this title enough for a comic collector in general. But this one is one that, for me, just barely dips its toes in what I'm going to be talking about with you guys today. Very clearly plays into that puppet marionette theme where all of the Titans are strung up. But something about it, both where there's no actual puppets, dummies, dolls in the cover, as well as all of the Titans appear to be normal size, doesn't quite play into exactly what about this subset really speaks to me. So it's one where it dips its toes in, and it is part of it, but for me there's just something holding it back from kind of getting full blown into what I'm into. Alright, and now we have Superman 269, and this again is one of the best examples of why there are no clear rules, rhyme, or reason. It is just when a cover speaks to me, because this one, similarly to the Teen Titans, there are no actual dolls or dummies, anything on the cover to be found, and with the cover saying that, guess who found 8 different ways to kill Superman? My guess is the way they are strung up was more a play on they couldn't show them straight hung, even though DC did a lot with Batman back in the day, so they have these awkward ways they chose to hang them. But something about the way they are hung, as well as they seem like miniaturized versions, you could fit them all on the cover, this plays a lot more into that puppet marionette theme to me than that last Teen Titans cover did. Again, I don't know why there's no set rule, but this cover is one that I really like, especially one that does not showcase a doll or dummy in any way. This one just kind of checks those boxes for everything I love about it, and this is one of the top tier ones that I like to collect for this genre. Alright, now one that is a bit of a cheat, but if anybody fits it, it's this guy. This is Batman Detective Comics issue 808, and here you have Scarface right on the cover. So again, I am a huge ventriloquist Scarface fan, from the animated series to everything he's been in. I love the idea, I love the concept, I love the design, and because of that, any cover featuring Scarface is obviously going to be a given for me. On top of being an amazing Batman villain, this subcategory that I enjoy collecting, he fits into beautifully, so I will snag his covers every single time. And sticking with that very theme, we have Batman 475. In addition to being a very awesome ventriloquist Scarface cover, this is also the first appearance of Renee Montoya, which gives it a little extra class. And oddly enough, because I don't go through and seek out a lot of these kind of higher run Batman books, if I see them, I snag them, I love them. So surprisingly, these are actually the only two ventriloquist covers. From what I saw, I went through kind of quick, but I think these are the only two I currently have. But again, they fit everything I love about that subset of just dummies, dolls, marionettes, puppets on covers. He fits into this category awesome every time. And then we have Detective Comics issue 427. And this again just points out, I don't know what it is, but the way you have all of these creepy marionette puppets on the cover, talking through a recording. They've just killed Batman. He's laying in a pile of dolls. There's this doll up top with the smoking gun. I love everything about this. It could have been because I was a kid. I was also a huge fan of Goosebumps, Night of the Living Dummy, anything with Slappy. It just really stuck with me. So any cover that can play into that in any way, I collect it every single time. This is a very, very cool one to have. I love everything about this, and it's just one more in this awesome category. And then we have The Flash, issue 133. And this was actually one of the first Flash books I ever got. My kind of first outside of Batman and Spider-Man books I ever dipped my toes into. The Flash, who again, for his run, has some of the weirdest, coolest, craziest covers you can find. I can make a whole video just with the weirdest Flash covers, and it would be a banger every single one. But here you have the Flash being turned into a puppet by Abracadabra the Magician. I love the wooden style that they did on this. This cover for me just ticks all the boxes for what I love about collecting this subset of books. It is just fun, it's cool, a little creepy to it, awesome book. Now, with Action Comics issue 413, I was actually iffy on whether or not to include this one or not. Because again, it's so broad and weird, the books that I choose that kind of fit this for me, where here you have the Voodoo Doom of Superman. You just have this very small voodoo doll of Superman that's getting pricked with this pin off to the side that's affecting him. And that it's not one of the better ones that I personally like for, the kind of dummy doll covers, but it's just enough where it felt wrong not to include it on this list. And sticking with that kind of voodoo doll theme, we have the House of Secrets, issue 117. Again, these ones are both. They fit into that kind of niche category for me, but they're not as high on my list. Something about, I think, just the style of doll, how it's not too creepy. While it's very much in the forefront on this cover, they're a little bit more less not as detailed. So they still kind of fit into that doll thing that I really like, but just not as high on my list. Alright, now these next few are going to be very much high on the list of everything I love. So here we have the House of Secrets issue 86. And again, so while the puppet on this cover isn't a huge focal point, there is just something about how, compared to the kind of muddy colors of that brown background, the pink hair, white face, red cheeks of this puppet, and the fact that it's titled At Midnight the Puppet Cried, Why? It just makes the puppet stand out in this creepy house of everything that much more, where this is one of my favorite covers that really plays into that puppet dummy theme. So a lot of the, again, you'll see coming up are kind of those DC horror books. Anytime I find one that plays into this, these are some of my favorite ones. These ones are just great. And then next up we have the House of Mystery, issue 191. This one again is everything I love about collecting these style. This one checks all the boxes for me. You have these creepy toys and this dummy puppet marionette right here. They're all beating this guy while these kids just kind of peek in and watch. the light shining down, making it the focal point. Again, you have that main puppet right there on the cover, looking back like he heard the kids. It's creepy, it's fun, it has everything about this weird little niche book I like to collect. This one is definitely top tier for me. Next up, we have Unexpected, issue 143. This is another one of my absolute favorites in terms of this weird little subset I collect. You have, again, this toy maker right on the cover, all of the kind of puppet marionettes in the background watching as he beats this one to death with a hammer, and the doll is quite literally saying, "You can't kill me no matter how you try, I'll still tell the world you're a murderer." So it's that weird, creepy puppet marionette that I forget in this book. Are they haunting him? Is he actually a murderer? What's happening? I have no idea, but it's the kind of cover that makes you want to crack it open and reread it every single time. And as I get closer to Halloween, that's what brought all these books to the forefront. I like to pull these out, reread them. I plan on doing a nice little horror book show when I get closer to October, but this is another. I love the detailing too. Almost all black background, save for the overhead light. Again, the marionettes in the background, and just the spotlight as he beats this thing to pieces with a hammer. It's creepy, it's macabre, and I love it. Alright, the next and final book is Unexpected, issue 156. And this is a tough one, because it has some things that I really love, and it has some things that I don't love. Overall, this cover is amazing and spectacular. You have that dark purple background, again, that spotlit stage where you have this ventriloquist with this dummy. The only thing that holds it back for me is I wish it wasn't a straight skeleton he had right here. I wish that there was more of a creepy wooden puppet marionette dummy style to it. So the fact that it's just a skeleton, while visually looks cool for just a horror cover, holds it back a little bit in that little niche I like to collect. But you have that deep purple background with that red spotlight that makes the focal point of the dummy skeleton and the ventriloquist pop off the page. It's still really cool. Once again, I accuse you of my murder. Looks like the dummies always have it out. So, always really, really cool. This one, again, has some awesome strengths. Overall, amazing book. But for this category, just that one little detail of not having a better looking dummy holds it back for me. Alright, there we have it, everybody. It was just a idea I've been playing around for a while. Again, it's the weird little niche of books I like to collect, and I'm genuinely curious. I know that there is a pretty awesome Lois Lane cover where you have Superman strapped to a table, and there's a giant dummy doll Superman chained to the wall, and he's being whipped and lashed. That is another one that kind of fits into everything I love about it that I plan to get on my list. But if you guys know any other books, and it doesn't matter if it is Marvel, DC, independent, what it is, if there's any books or issues you think might fit into this weird category I collect, please leave a comment down below because I genuinely want to know. Other than Batman, Superman, my DC books, it's this weird little niche thing I have off to the side that I just love every time I find another book that fits into that category. So with that said, what about you guys? Like I said, I know of people that when you get out of the broad stuff, there is a big group, again, for Batman specifically, love the Bat Signal covers where it's shining down. They collect covers just based off of that. I know there's a weirdly large amount of books that feature a giant hand, whether it is a monster, a ghost, whatever, and anytime you have a cover with this giant hand, people collect that because it fits their little subgenre. People love robot covers, whether it's more modern high-tech, more of the wooden or steampunk. People just love robot covers. So, what is it that you guys have? If you do, I'm genuinely curious to see all the other weird little subgroups that people like me collect. So, I just want to share this fun, quick video with you guys. Until next time.